Hello, my name's Gary.
Yeah, what we're going to talk about today, Gary?
PCP suggestion plan meetings.
Yep. So, do you want to just tell the listeners what PCP stands for?
PCP stands for person-centred planning.
Right. And what do you what are your thoughts on person-centred planning? What do you think it is, and what's important about it, Gary?
So be getting what you would like.
Yeah, is it to do with your support, Gary?
Do my support.
Yeah, and what kinds of things would you discuss about your support in these person-centred plan meetings?
But it's working all right.
Yep, and now we did a little list, didn't we? A couple of weeks ago, I think it was, Gary. And I'm just going to go through it.
Yeah.
You talked about monthly key worker meetings. You talked about decision making and having a little bit more control over those decisions. You talked about managing your money. And the kind of things you're able to do around budgeting. You talked about something in place for visiting mum. The use of your debit card. And you also mentioned about the money in your tin. Which kind of ties in with your budgeting and what you can and can't do. You talked about wanting to know which support staff were going to be on with you daily. And just off the record, we also talked about having a little bit more choice in who you work with. Yeah, and we'll explore that at further length as we move along when we get down there. You also talked about DVD rules. A little bit more flexibility on that.
Yeah.
I think in one of the previous meetings we had, you'd actually said that things were a little bit better on the DVD side, but you can explain more when we get down to that. Mm-hmm. So, if it's about your support, Gary, what kinds of things would you bring up in person-centred plan meetings? We mentioned about key worker, didn't we? So why do you think it's important to bring that up in a person-centred plan meeting? What's crucial about having a key worker?
Make sure the key worker is suitable first.
Yeah, because obviously you'd have a say in that.
Yeah.
What are the qualities do you think that a key worker should have, Gary, that would make it work better with yourself, so you could get better support? What kinds of qualities?
So the type of support that I want.
Yeah, and what kinds of people have you worked with? You can name first names of these people and mention a little bit about them and the way they are with you and how that will be really good for you to push that key worker forward.
Good sense of humour.
Good sense of humour, that's a good one.
Good to have fun with.
Yeah.
To be myself.
Yeah, allow you to be yourself.
Which
is crucial, isn't it, for Gary and anybody really.
Yeah.
What about looking out for you?
Yeah.
Now I know Tony became the computer man, didn't he? If ever anything went wrong, Gary always knew we could go and talk to Tony and.
Or Graham.
Or Graham, yeah, they would pop in the flat and help him with that. I still remember that time where myself, you and Tony were there. We were looking at Gary's. Is it the favourites?
Favourites.
Me and Tony were absolutely. I mean, I thought I had a lot until we come across Gary's.
Yeah.
Tony said, "Well, I think it's going to take some time, this Gary." But I'm going to watch them later. You need to come back another life to watch these, Gary. That was a funny night, that Gary, wasn't it? So, if one of those people we mentioned, Tony or Stephen or whatever, or Graham, and others as well, and Dave's now joined, David, would they make good key workers for those reasons?
Yeah.
And would that help you to get good support then?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Trey? Key worker role?
I think it's really important, isn't it, for you, Gary, for anybody really, to have somebody you can work closely with, you feel comfortable with, you have a good relationship with, and feel relaxed and you can be yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to say and talk about what you want. That's really important.
Yeah, so I mean, if you had a key worker like the ones you mentioned before, Gary, and you went to your person-centred plan meeting, you wouldn't feel as uncomfortable, and you'd be more able to talk quite openly. They would support you. If you were struggling a bit, they know you well, so they would step in and help you. I agree with Gary. I think it's crucial. But you mentioned as well, Gary, that you would like to have monthly key worker meetings. Is that not happening at the moment?
No, it doesn't happen.
Right, so that's crucial in providing social care. So that's something that needs to be pushed forward, Gary, doesn't it? We'll go on to, obviously the question that came up was why have you not got a key worker? And obviously, if you're going to have key worker meetings every month, you need a key worker, don't you? And that needs to be pushed forward as well. Let's come on to decision making and more control. Now, those are things that the PCP should actually address. Because someone shouldn't be feeling as though they haven't got enough control. By the time they get along to these meetings, things should be tickety-boo anyway. So they feel more comfortable talking to everybody who's in the room. So, what kinds of things, Gary, when you mention decision making and more control, would you think that need to be looked at?
I could go and see my mum more. How long good they?
Yeah, that's one that we'd mentioned as well, I think, just slightly further on. Yeah. So, when let's look at that then. Now, because your mum's in the situation she's in, and because Michael's in the situation he's in, where he's pretty much, going along every day when he can. It's quite stressful for him. It would be for anybody at all. The arrangements in place should involve yourself, Michael, Mum when she's got some capacity, and anybody else who's involved, such as the key worker or the medical people or whatever, so that you know exactly what's going on. You've got a regular protocol in place where you know when you're going to meet your mum. Michael's informed as well. So again, from a person-centred plan meeting, that should all be arranged. I mean, it should have been arranged by now anyway, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should.
How do you think it should be set up then, Guy, in relation to visiting your mum with the services that you're in? How would you like it to be done?
I'll wait to film. I'll go to see my mum when I'm feeling better.
Yeah, because that's always been the case, because it's stressful anyway, and it's not good if you're going down, you don't feel so it's good.
No.
But how would you like it set up in relation to visiting Gary, which would involve Michael and other people, your key work if you get one, that is. How would you like it set up? Would you like a choice in who you go with?
Yeah.
I think that's crucial as well.
Yeah, it's a stressful time, so you need somebody with you who's going to support you.
Someone who can stop longer.
Yep. I'll tell you what, Tree, you better write it down because my thumbs are shot. Just put underneath, it's confidential, Gary. So, I think it's come up before that with Gary, but wanting a bit more time down there.
Yeah, wanting more time with your mum.
It's sometimes a bit rushed for him by the time he gets down and gets back. It's not good for Mum and Michael either when Gary's rushing away.
Well, yeah, it'd be difficult for them because they'll feel like they're being, Gary's having to rush, and that makes it difficult when they're trying to spend time with him.
Yeah, and of course you are a family guy at the end of the day, when you're all three together, it's Mum, Michael and yourself.
And you want somebody that goes with you that can support you during those difficult visits.
With the qualities we mentioned before, such as Tony and Graham and Stephen, etc., and David now as well.
And Keith.
And Keith, yeah. So, what other things do you think will get brought up, Gary? You mentioned about money, which we've discussed in the past. And you'd mentioned about having more choice in how your money's dealt with. Do you want to mention that? Well, what's important that would probably come up at a person-centred plan meeting? Bearing in mind as well, that you do understand the importance of budgeting your money and looking after your money as well.
Yeah.
So, what do you think should be discussed around that aspect? Because you'd mentioned the money tin as well, hadn't you?
Yeah.
What was it around?
Have a marmite to go and see my mum with.
Yep.
Yep.
So you want to be able to manage your money better so you can have more money when you need it.
Yeah.
So what do you think's changed then, Gary, from when we used to go down? That's maybe made you think that way. You know, in the past you had sufficient money in your tin and you would take your money out before we went and things like that. What's changed in relation that's made you come up with this and that you probably bring up in your person-centred plan meeting?
No, we haven't talked about there wasn't talked about money in the PCP.
Yeah, well, it is crucial that. So let's run with that then. What would you bring up? Say this is your person-centred plan meeting now.
Yeah.
What would you bring up about that aspect of the money? What's changed? You know, what's different now that you feel as though you haven't got as much control?
Some management tell me you can't go to the bank and get money out on when you've got money in your tin.
So this is around your use of your debit card, which I think was mentioned in the...
It's not used around it's not around use of my debit card. I have a white card to get my money out.
Right, so you've got a different card, yeah. Oh, of course you have, Gary, yeah. I should remember, shouldn't I? So is this about what you've been told you can do rather than how you used to do it? Has it changed over the past number of years? Have you got less control more now, or is it the same or similar? How does it work? Which is the bit that you would like to change?
To go find money when it's to go and see mum, or need money for when I stop longer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So what's changed then? Why is that not the case now? Has your money been capped? Are you only allowed to have...
I think it has a little bit.
Right, so it's been capped. So was that because you were spending too much, or...
I know I wasn't spending too much.
You would prefer it to be how it used to be?
Yeah.
And do you think if that was the case you would have more control of your money?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, safeguarding your money, you know, keeping your money safe and also yourself safe as well. But if you have control of your money and you keep a certain amount of money in your tin, which you always did, that pretty much has to be your choice. If you're told to have less in the tin, then there has to be a justification for that. Because that's actually telling Gary to do something that he doesn't actually agree with, and there isn't really any justification. You know, if someone's going to steal money, they're going to steal the money he's got in the tin, irrespective of how much he's got in.
Yeah.
So, you know, where do you end with who says how much? You know, it's a bit crazy, really. There's no real foundation in that, for me anyway.
No.
I think for you, Gary, because you've always been good that way with your budgeting, I think there needs to be a rather more in-depth discussion and agreement with you at the middle of it in something like this. And then you set out the stall. And then the other people justify why it is that they want it the other way.
Yeah.
And that's how, you know, I mean, it should have been done at source anyway. But you were involved in, right, Gary, you know, this is why we think this is a good idea. What do you think? Are you okay with that? But I think it's pretty much been pushed through.
Yeah.
I think I've got a vague recollection you mentioned about an amount that was stipulated in your tin. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where it stems from.
Yeah.
And, you know, Gary was given a lot more control when he came down to Wedgwood Road. It was safeguarded.
Yeah.
Gary knew where he was going with it, but he also understood the reasons why. So I think the boundaries are quite furred now, and you're not really sure where you're at, are you?
I know.
So again, that's a crucial thing in the person-centred plan meeting.
Yeah.
So what else, Gary, is crucial in a person-centred plan meeting you would bring up? We'd mentioned, I think, further on about the DVD flexibility.
Yeah.
So did you bring that up in the PCP, Gary?
No, I was going to bring it.
Right, so let's run it again then. You're in your PCP, it's a dummy one obviously. What would you say about the DVD rules that are in place? Are you certain about the DVD rules?
I think it should be flexible.
Right, so tell me how it stands now then. Does everybody know what your DVD rules are? Are you clear on what your DVD rules are?
Sometimes flexible. I've given 6 DVDs to Emma and 2 DVDs to you. Copy ones. That I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what is your DVD rule, Gary? What are the rules around your DVDs?
I have been taking them to the charity shop in the past, but that's in the past.
I remember you doing it, Gary.
Yeah, I've been taking videotapes to the charity shop as well.
Oh, that's what I remember though, because you used to take. Yeah, that's right, the old VHS. So, do you feel as though you've got sufficient control with the purchase of DVDs then? Do you feel you know where you're at with it? You know, if there's something coming up like, you know, I don't know.
Birthday, Christmas, anniversary.
Yeah, because you always, you know, that was always well prepared. You had a list. I remember when Ronnie used to do it with you as well.
Yeah.
And then Gary would tick off that list, you know, and see how much money he had and whatever. Is it different now? Is it kind of all over the place? You're not quite sure, you know, whether you're able to get something.
Sometimes it's different.
Yeah, so it's pretty kind of furred, isn't it, really?
Yes, so it's not very clear for you then, Gary, is it?
So maybe it needs to be a bit more clear where you have a bit more control over it. And you know, I'm not saying to you go out and buy batches and batches of DVDs, no, but then neither am I saying to you that you haven't got that choice at some point if you've got enough money to buy something. Anything else, Gary, you want to mention that should really come up in a person-centred plan? We talked about the choice of people you work with. And around the qualities that they have. We mentioned good sense of humour. Yeah, Eric comes up again. That's the chap who keeps moving around every time Gary gets near. Is that more to do with having a bigger network of friends, Gary? Because Eric was a friend as well. Yeah. And I know you still feel quite deflated about that because it was pretty much taken out of the equation. You know, it was kind of inferred that it wasn't really positive, and you know, there's a lot of stuff that came up. And of course, Eric moved.
Yeah, so is that, Gary, about having control to have your own friends?
I think it is. Yeah.
So do you feel as though you've got that flexibility to have different friends, Gary, or you know?
Sometimes.
Yeah. And you know that's quite crucial for someone, whether you're in a service or not, having that flexibility.
Yeah.
So when we talked about staffing. And we know it's never ideal because sometimes there's going to be, you know, a situation where you have to come with someone that's not necessarily right for you. In the person-centred plan meeting, would you make a request that most times you have people that you get on well with?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you get a choice of who you go with, or is it just who's on your rota?
Sometimes it's just who's on my rota. Yeah.
So if there's a situation, it'd never be ideal. There'll always be times where you can't do that. But on the whole, because you used to have a core team, didn't you? If you had a core of people like Tony, Graham, Davids, did I mention Tony?
Yes, Stephen.
You know, people that we mentioned before that are good with you and you get on well with. And that was like a regular turnover every month. Would that make things better for you?
It would, yeah.
Yeah, and I know Gary's mentioned this many times, and it's just been said, well, you know, you'll have to just work with whoever's on. And I wouldn't like that, Gary, because if I'm looking forward to a day and I end up with someone I don't necessarily get on well with, or they don't know me very well, then I'm not going to be too comfortable. Yeah?
And the jackets.
I knew that the jackets were going to come at some point. Gary has to get that in. this is obviously a recurring theme, isn't it? You end up in the same situation with your X amount of jackets. So what is it about that is a problem, Gary? It keeps on being a recurring theme for you where you have to bring it up?
I keep on having dreams.
And are these dreams good, bad?
Sometimes good.
Yeah, and do you actually dream about getting more jackets or having different jackets, or what kinds of dreams do you have?
I had nice dreams.
Yeah?
Yep.
And are you sleeping in these jackets? Are these jackets made into a duvet? Is it 12 or 13? Is it a 13 tog duvet made of
13 jacket duvet.
13 jacket duvet. And Gary's sleeping soundly under all these jackets.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because we talked about the sensory aspect, didn't we, Gary? About
the feel,
yeah, the leather, the different kinds of
the
texture, because that's a big thing for Gary. But you still do have jackets in your wardrobe, don't you?
Oh yeah.
And do you sometimes visit that sensation with the jackets?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Which I think was an agreed thing anyway, going back years ago, that was something that was for your personal space, and I support that as well. So is it more about perhaps having different kinds of jackets? Because if you get the same thing over and over again, is it? Do you miss going to
I miss going to shops and
yeah, because I remember when we went with Gary to the northeast.
My tour centre,
and Gary loved that, because and I know he's done it with you before. Because you've gone.
We've done shopping before, haven't we, for tops? Both of us looked at colour and texture, haven't we?
Yeah.
Because that is important. I mean, it's important for anybody, I think. You don't want necessarily something rough against your skin, so you want to feel it and make sure it's going to be soft.
So, if you, I mean, again, we're not, administering your care, Guy, and this is, kind of hypothetical, although it's important. If you went regularly shopping, and I don't mean always buying clothes, because you can't buy them every week, because you end up with loads of flipping, they come out the window, won't it? But when you see the same stuff in your wardrobe week in, week out, and you go in and you kind of feel it and enjoy the pleasure. If you were going out, say, once every 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, to a clothes shop with a member of staff, just checking out jackets and things like that and the sensation, whatever, would that be something that might ease things for you?
Yeah. And
then maybe highlight one that he likes.
Yeah.
And then pursue that to buy it at some point.
Yeah.
And I'm not overriding what Dave's got in place, Gary, because I know there was quite clear reasons why when it came out that these things were put into place. So I'm not actually, going against what Dave says, but you do regularly request a certain amount of flexibility. And with the greatest respect, I think because of the sensory aspect and because of Gary's autism, I think that would be nice for Gary to explore that, because I know he loved it that day we went up with Ronnie, just to see, was it the Officers Club or someone into, Gary?
The Officers Club,
the colours and the smells and the feeling and stuff and that,
Well, actually, the leather has a nice smell, doesn't it?
Jackets and the silk, Gary mentioned as well.
Certain materials have a nice smell, nice feel. So I think
I like velvet.
I think I think everybody has that part of their personality, Gary. I don't think it's necessarily just yourself.
No.
I think everybody feels the same way. They're attracted to different colours and textures and feel.
So would that be something? And again, we can only suggest. If that was put into your support package, where on a regular basis you actually went to different clothes shops and experienced different kinds of materials, things like that.
I buy leather jackets from the internet, like the Michael Knight leather jacket soldier.
Oh yeah, I remember you. Did you ever get that?
No, I didn't.
Yes, it's stuff like that, I mean, again, I'm not going against what Dave's put in place, because I'm sure that that there was sound judgment in there. But I don't think there's a great deal else that's exploring Gary's sensory needs and desires as well. So it might be worthwhile exploring that, Gary. I mean, you can do it through us. We did begin that going back a while ago, didn't we? and we can most certainly do it again. There's no risks involved. It's not going to cause any problems. It's your choice. It's an informed choice. And again, it's not going against anything that Dave set up. Because you want to be able to sit with Dave anyway and explain that. I think it'd be good that.
Yeah.
We'll build that in, Gary. It's been a while since we wandered around a closed shop, isn't it?
It has, and it is part of the whole experience, I feel. And I can't, for me, everybody must do that. Everybody must look at clothes and look at the colours and the textures and the feel. I mean, I do that. Before I think about picking it up and maybe trying it on and then thinking about, I might like that. It's natural to me to do that.
I mean, Gary could get a silk duvet.
He could. Could he still a silk cushion?
You have a duvet there.
I can't wear no.
Put arms in it.
You'll have a onesie.
It won't be him on the toilet. I'm having a duvet there. So, do you think that'd be worthwhile pursuing, though, Gary? Because I mean, every time he brings it up, and there's reasons why he's bringing it up, and it's not because he's challenging the system. He's just saying, well, let me explore that sensation, that sensory. I think it'd be worthwhile pursuing, Gary. Anything else before we round off? Because I'm aware that we've ran over our 20 minutes. Anything else you want to add, Gary, before we round off? But again, Gary, we're going to come back to this. And anything that you've forgotten that you want to add, we can add to the next one. And if anybody's listening, which hopefully you will do, this is Gary being quite clear about the kinds of things that should actually come up in person-centred plan meetings, because it's about the person, and it's about making sure that person's comfortable and is able to pursue the things that make them happy. Any final words, Gary, before we round off? Would you like people to comment on what you've said? Would you like people to show their interest in what you've said?
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to ask Gary any questions through the social media, then please feel free to do so.
Yes, and we'll pass it on and Gary can respond, can't you?
Yeah. Okay, is that a wrap?
It's a wrap.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Well done.